Alrighty, we've got 156 in the audience, so I think that's a good starting point for us. Um, so yeah, first of all, thanks to everyone for taking time out of your day and coming and joining the AMA. I know it's been our first one in a little while. Obviously, a lot's been going on behind the scenes and in front of the scenes since then, and yeah, which is why I wanted to have a chat with everyone and do this AMA once we had all the final figures for the rebate, just so we knew exactly what we're talking about and yeah, got a better understanding of the whole situation as well. Um, so first things first, as there has been a few people asking about the Roxanne theme tune and so on. Unfortunately, as Kyle mentioned, with Hydra and a lot of the other bots that play music, they don't do. Well, you're not able to play anything that's copyrighted. So with apparently some people have access to some sort of elevator music or something, but I don't have that. But that's fine. So today, basically, what we're going to do is just give everyone a bit of a, I guess you'd say, high-level overview of some of the hot topics that have been going on the past month, two, however long it's been since the last AMA. Answer some of the questions. So we've had quite a few questions come through from the community as well, obviously just in Gen Chat and so on, that have been brought to our attention. So go through, answer those, and then yeah, we'll just open up the floor and ask all of your guys questions if you have any further there. I do just want to express though, like, happy to answer any questions that come up. We just ask that you do be respectful, and yeah, just don't go overboard with like we're not going to tolerate any abuse or anything like that. But yeah, but we do recommend everyone that has questions come up and say your piece, and yeah, we'll be happy to answer them. Yeah, Leo, Jero, Kyle, do you guys have anything you want to add before we kick things off?
No, pretty good. So we'll just obviously go through what's kind of happening in the background, kind of an overview of what's happening with the rebate. I guess some things that have happened in that, I guess, in between all of that. And then, yeah, obviously, and most importantly, answer people's questions, and then really go from there.
Yeah, exactly. I think you touched on everything, Rory. So we'll get to start.
Sweet, it sounds good. So I know I've seen a few people saying that they don't want to spend too long on the rebate, and that's fine. We'll go through it as quickly as I guess we can. One thing that has come up is moving goalposts and things like that. We just want to be clear, like the numbers that are out there now, those are the final numbers. They're not going to change, increase, decrease, or anything like that. The only way they would change is if for some reason the data on that was actually incorrect. So I think there's been one ticket that's come forward, and for some reason something wasn't, like some sort of information wasn't meant to be there, and it was, or something along those lines. But the rest of them rest of people that have open tickets have actually been fact checked basically, and those are the correct numbers. And I know Dad had mentioned in a pin post as well, which obviously not everyone sees, but the reason for a lot of the changes, so and people's actual figures changing. So I guess corrupt data was one of them. So just as an example, on the original data that we did the first month's rebate on, just as an example, one person's like the file on one person said that they had spent, I think it was like $300,000 or something crazy on purchasing NFTs on the R&D side of things. But it was very quick to go and check their wallet and see that they hadn't purchased a single one, just as one example. So the data was all incorrect and things got skewed and so on. And for us, we'd committed to paying out on that date. So we just basically said, look, we're going to put it forward based on this data, just so we can hold that date down. And yeah, so that's one reason why that could have changed. Number two, big one, of course, is changing using the data as being AVAX in, AVAX out for R&D, as that's what it was pegged to. So that's the big one there. And then I did mention a third one. So changing the transfers. So having the in the first set of data, we didn't include transfers in or transfers out on the SCAR side of things, whereas we've incorporated that now. So it means that, like say if you're compounding from one wallet and then sending that to another wallet as an example, that can just cash out. and then on the wallet that it went into, that counted as cash in. So those are the three reasons for people's data changing. And yeah, even on that, so a lot of the wallets that were eligible basically may have said they were eligible when they wouldn't have been. The whole data was correct. Changing the to AVAX in versus AVAX out, that would have changed some people, and then yeah, the transfers basically. Now another thing with that, so it's just a bit of a pressing point that keeps coming up. Not so much anymore, but you still see it every here and there on Twitter and Discord and so on, is that there is a pretty common misconception that the money invested into this was money that we, as in Redlight, took, which is just incorrect. It's basically been money that's been purchasing tokens, so it's gone into a liquidity pool, and then when someone's selling it, they're withdrawing the money. But yeah, just wanted to clear that up because for some reason people thought that people purchasing Scar and Playmates and so on, that was money going into our wallet. So I just want to clear that up. It's a liquidity pool. That's how the liquidity pool works. Now, I guess with the we'll move on from the rebate from there. I mean, there has been a few other questions about that, but we can just address them if they come up in the AMA. Be easy because we don't want to bore everyone about that. Now, also, so the Pinnacle staking. Okay, so I know that we were planning to release the Pinnacle staking numbers before this. However, we didn't want to detract from the fact that it's been a while since we've spoken to everyone here, and we want to give everyone the focus that everyone deserves, basically, to have their questions actually answered and so on. And we don't want to detract from what Pinnacle staking is actually going to look like. On top of that, so based on a lot of feedback, we've actually included some different features in there to have a bit of a safety net. So people, because we did see complaints of people saying that their money is going to be locked in there if it doesn't go up in price and so on. So we've alleviated that with something called the pullback function. And then, yeah, basically just try to make it more appealing overall as well once we've gone through and crunched the numbers even further and added a few bits and pieces, which we'll release in the next probably couple of days once we've put together a bit of a white paper for it, now that we've got all the data correct. And then with the questions that Kyle had sent through to us, Leo, did you want to start answering some of those?
Yeah, so if you guys aren't aware, so I'm pretty sure Kyle, when he hosted an AMA, there was some questions that were raised in there that was forwarded to us that we were going to address in the AMA itself, which has been in this one. So kind of just run through these and kind of give a brief, answer to them and then go forward from there. So one of them was talking about midnight trades and one of the announcements that we made in regards to staking RedLC into NFTs and kind of what that means and why is there kind of value there, because a lot of people are saying, oh, why would we do that when you can just mint without the RedLC. So this is aimed for obviously developers to be able to leverage off midnight trades and basically get, for example, like priority listings on midnight trades, some of the new UI updates that are going to be coming to midnight trades. So one of them is going to be like a leaderboard. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen Blur or anything like that. They've got like leaderboards where people invest in or buying NFTs and trading stuff like that. Shows that how they're tracking, where they are compared to other people. One of the main reasons for it was a lot to do with marketing. So we're opening up a marketing arm with some of our marketers that haven't been announced yet, but they will be later on down the track. And this gives priority to those NFTs. So, depending on how much you stake into the NFT and stuff like that, would give you those kind of accesses too. This obviously makes the NFTs backed by real value. So, you've got NFTs, which everybody knows is basically dictated by the market itself. So how much people are willing to pay and then kind of what the floor price is of what averagely they sell for. This actually gives them, a tangible value by having RedLC being a governance coin and tangible actual asset being inbuilt into that. So obviously curbs like inflation as well for RedLC because it's locking into an NFT in that regard. So that's one of the, I guess, to cover off that one. So Texas has obviously come out with another one about staking options and revenue. So the staking options is going to be Pinnacle staking. For the validators, they're going to have their own version of Pinnacle staking, so it'll be validator staking basically. And this addresses the actual staking mechanisms of everything. So we're going to kick off Pinnacle staking with the rebate itself as the first part, but as what will be detailed in the white paper, there'll be different seasons that will happen. So it won't just be one staking and it goes for forever. It will finish and then it will elapse and then it will keep going. So validators will have their own one, which will be, it won't be exactly the same. It'll be a little bit different, but validators will have that option. Only validator owners will get that option as well. So I guess moving on to the next question, probably one of the hottest topics right now. How long will the rebate take? Is it going to take 12 months? Is it going to take a year? Obviously, there's been some issues or sorry, I just just looked at the stage text right now. I'm reading from something else. So basically, there's been concerns about we're only getting rebated this much. This is how much everybody's getting. It's going to take forever. Well, there's heaps of different conditions in regards to this. I know we said we were going to talk about the rebate, but this is just one of the questions that we wanted to at least answer. The rebate amounts that are coming in is basically what Redlight is generating. So whether that's from Redlight itself or it's from external sources, we're putting that into the rebate program. So at the start, we put in X amount. This month we put X amount. As we grow and get bigger, and we I guess attain more revenue, we'll put more into the rebate program. One of the biggest things for this as well is people taking up Pinnacle staking. Those people will be using their rebate. Therefore, the other people that are choosing USDTR for their rebate, they'll get a larger slice and so on. We've got partners that are coming on board that are going to be offering NFTs, and there's going to be some other options there to help with that rebate to get everybody whole as fast as possible, or at least give them valuable options that they can uptake to get equal value for that. Another one, which is I guess another question which is pretty hot topic as well, is Dawn itself. So this is going to tie into as you guys might have seen on Twitter, Alex is rebooted Dusk. I know a lot of people I'm just reading what Texas is saying. A lot of people are asking, are we going to partner and things like that? Look, we've spoken to Alex about Dusk. It's an option, but realistically, it's what he chooses or what he's going to do. We do have some information on that front, but if ultimately we do get Dusk on board and things like that, Dawn would still use that as a utility. Dawn actually has other utilities outside of just Dusk alone. Like, for example, Pandora's Vault has where you would stake it against your vault and you would get like DeFi discounts and DeFi options in there compared to just the normal options of staking RedLC. So we're making sure that Dawn, being the subpar token, so RedLC is obviously our main token and then Dawn is our secondary token. We're building as much utility into it as we possibly can. And making sure that going forward it has a purpose, has utility. At the end of the day, we might look at doing Dawn Pinnacle staking as well. So seeing how everybody goes through. Sorry, Joe's in the same room as me, so he's just echoing a little bit. So seeing you guys will obviously see how RedLC Pinnacle staking goes, and then we can kind of go from there with Dawn. I guess let's have a look. So another question. I
just want to touch on that one a little bit more. So with Dusk, obviously it was Redlight's IP and everything. However, we've only got so much bandwidth that we can put our focus on, and obviously our main focus right now is growing the blockchain, growing exposure, and getting the rebate sorted so that everyone can have that completed, and trying to focus on building a game from scratch and the tokenomics behind it and everything like that is just something that will just take, realistically, on top of everything else, we've got far too long to do. So we spoke to Alex about it. He mentioned he's got obviously not much going on since not being with Redlight. And we said, look, like, do you have a think about it, but do you want to take Dusk back and run with it? He thought about it, and we all agreed, like, the easiest way for that to get out to the community and to get those people that are excited about it, that have been for the past year or so, that want to take part in it, purchase NFTs and stuff as well. We figured it was best for Alex to take control of that and just basically run with it, as it's the only thing he's got to focus on. So that's why, obviously, we haven't had another chat with him about whether or not he's going to go on the blockchain. I know he had been speaking for the past 6 months or so that it would only really realistically work on a gasless blockchain, but I think he's still looking around just to be safe. But yeah, anything got to do with that, he'll honour that, anything that was said in the past and so on. And I know a few people have asked in the chat as well about not giving a clear answer on how long the rebate's going to take. The answer is that there isn't a clear number. Like, we don't have the money sitting there to pay that out straight away. Otherwise, we would. We obviously, the sooner that we can repair our reputation and start growing our brand, the sooner we can start generating more income and so on, and start paying that off. So ideally, we'd have the money sitting there and just pay it off straight away. That's not the case, and yeah, we just aim. All we can really say is we aim to have that paid off as soon as we possibly can. But yeah, so if you want to go back to what was you saying, Leo?
Yeah, no, I was just typing to Texas. Like, so he's just asking ETA on the Pinnacle numbers. For that, we obviously have to open up the D app and get people to pick Pinnacle staking. Once we get those numbers, we'll be able to release it. Like Rory said, so myself and Rory have been working on Pinnacle staking, Pinnacle pools, and obviously the safety pool, which is going to be basically the pullback function and everything that it encompasses. We've been doing it for a couple of weeks now, but we really ramped it up over the last 4 days, and we're pretty happy with how it's turned out. We obviously put a light paper out kind of before for people to review and kind of give some feedback on, these are the concerns that we have, and we've addressed those. So we'll be releasing it again, and then once everybody's digested, I guess, how it works, and then we'll kind of be able to go from there, open up the D app, and then people will be able to pick how much they want to put in and stuff like that. Once those numbers are done, then we'll have a full encompass view of how much the next rebate will be. You could just to throw like a hypothetical out there. If half the wallets pick Pinnacle staking, that means the other half that are wanting just to claim USDTR would double, triple, whatever it might be. It'll be paid off a lot faster. So there's different variables in this which need to be addressed. And once post-Pinnacle staking numbers come out, we'll be able to give those. So continuing on. Okay, cool. So another one was obviously Alchemist chains, the NFTs. So look, we're looking at doing for all the NFTs to try and give some value. Obviously, with Redlight links, we're going to change the imagery on that as we've sunsetted, we've closed down Scarlet chains, and we're bringing, as we promised, we're bringing utility for that. So in Pinnacle staking, people get an extra 10%. For Alchemist chains, whether prior to Alex taking it on. He's basically said to us, he goes, look, if I end up going with Redlight and stuff like that, everything that utility-wise, if it's possible, would be exchanged into Dusk. So we're waiting on to see what Alex says on his side. But at the end of the day, if it does go ahead, then we'll be able to give utility to those Alchemist chains NFTs as well. Reinsure investors are done. Okay, cool. So people are obviously talking about the rebate, verbal commitment. You look at the avalanche of everything that's coming out, good, bad, and everything in between. We're still soldiering on. The main thing that our primary focus is to make sure that this rebate does get paid. We're trying to get it done as fast as possible. If we could pay it off tomorrow, we would pay it off. We gain nothing from extending this out. or do anything of that kind of ilk. Not only does it cause more stress or cause more I guess doubt and FUD, as well as uncertainty within the community. We're doing it as fast as we can. We're obviously pulling in options from all over the place. So not only just rebating, pinnacle staking, NFTs, but also partners coming on board to help with that. And, a lot of our partners are being really kind in saying that they're willing to help with the rebate, and then we basically are encompassing all that as well. So. A question for VC: will validators be not okay? Cool. Yeah. So another one is another hot topic is basically a validator is going to be offered. We are looking at doing clustered validators. So that is, a clustered validator would be a collection of maybe 10 of them, and it would be ownership could be split more than a one-to-one basis. So this gives people with somebody who might not be able to afford a validator an opportunity to actually gain access into a pool of one. For full validators, we're still looking at that as well. But yeah, those options are still on the table as well. So once we get the pinnacle staking numbers, we'll be able to put everything on there. So we had the Scar Shop, which is there, so we're going to repurpose that Scar Shop and use it for the rebate, which will have I guess a numerous amount of different options on there. Water. Sorry, Joe, just offering me a drink, and instead he gives me Sprite and Red Bull. A few scenarios. Okay, cool. So another one is just talking about the estimate of how long the rebate's going to take. This has actually been a really hot topic in itself, which is the roadmap. So, like I've addressed, very briefly in Validator chat, as well as some other chats about the roadmap, it has changed quite significantly. We are building a full deck, which will have the new roadmap on there. So that's going to be posted once we finalize that on the VC deck, which will also come onto the website. And then we'll post it, obviously, in the Discord first, as well as Telegram. And then it'll be obviously on the website as well. And then, in a future AMA, we can kind of go through the roadmap, what that kind of encompasses, and kind of go through there. Look, just seeing, I've seen your name like a million times. We understand about the rebate. But like we said, we're addressing it right now. Let's have a look. Okay, cool. Another one was, official tasks scheduled. What's the team been up to? Some more transparency with the community. Obviously, myself and Rory and some of the other core team haven't been as prevalent in Discord for the pure fact that we have a lot of moving parts that we're moving in the background. We understand that, community engagement has been lacking a little bit. That's why we kind of opened this AMA. Myself and Rory, what we're looking at doing, we're looking at opening up a weekly AMA. I'm going to call it maybe the boiler room or something like that, where we're re-engaging with the community. We've obviously got Dad Goes Crypto, Kyle giving updates. They're sitting in most of our meetings now as well. We're going to be bringing Jen in there as well. And so they're going to get more visibility on kind of what the team's doing. But that weekly AMA is basically, to give what's happened in the weeks past, what's going to be happening going forward, and then opening it up to the floor to see if anybody wants to, voice concerns or ask kind of questions. So it's just another way of re-engaging kind of back to the community.
But also, just on that as well, that's why Kyle's just started doing the community updates as well, community announcements, just to kind of clear up what's been happening behind the scenes as well for those, because we know some people can't attend AMAs and they just want it in announcements. That's fine as well. But yeah, so that's why we're trying to do as much as we can to get as much out to you guys as what's going on. And yeah, as Leo mentioned, like we really don't have as much time to be sitting in AMA. Like we know Alex did spend a lot of time in Discord, answering questions and stuff, which was great, but it's just not within our bandwidth to be doing that, which is why we're kind of doing that avenue. And I think the weekly AMAs as well will be a good opportunity to not only give you those updates, but to answer any questions and stuff as we have, and to make sure everyone's on the same page. Because realistically as well, we know that like one of our biggest assets is our community, and we obviously got a lot of love for the community and want to keep that, keep the feeling mutual there. and we know that for us to strive forward and get the rebate paid off sooner rather than later, we do need to fix our image, and that's not just out in the general public. That's with you guys first, and it definitely starts here. And that's definitely one of our top priorities is to fix our communication on that front, so we can move onwards and upwards and get the rebate sorted, and get to the eventual goal of getting the rest of the world known about Redlight and now gasless blockchain.
Yeah, fair enough. So I guess one of the questions here is, will the script be public? Yes, it will be. So now that the script's been finalised, waiting for all the TX imports to happen so people can actually see their TX imports. Another one is they talk about the TX hash for the $1 million that the team put in. Well, realistically, everybody's out there saying this wallet did this wallet did that. We don't really have to show that. We can show it. We can show the bank statements if we need to. But realistically, we don't feel we need to. If you look at the numbers, if you actually if you look at how the numbers actually work, you can actually see that that's there. Talking about the ops wallet, I don't know what ops wallet you're kind of talking about in that regards. A lot of I hear about $1 billion business they're working on. Okay, so somebody's come out. So Jay saying $1 billion business. We never said we were working on $1 billion business. Can we hear more? So you mentioned you guys work on tokenomics. Okay, cool. I'm not sure about that. What that is. So, okay, cool. So I guess covering off some other things. Kind of what's happening right now is, I think Kyle's kind of mentioned it. So myself and Joe are meeting with one of our partners, which will be in Singapore. So we're attending obviously a summit there with one of them. So
we're invited to.
Well, we were invited, yes. So we're meeting them over there currently.
Just
so
you know, I didn't say anything about that, so you need to go through it, the whole thing. This is the first time they hear about it. I didn't mention that.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so my mistake. So basically, at the moment, where myself and Joe, we've been invited to a summit with one of our partners. So once we arrive there, we'll be posting pictures, and you'll see who it is. It was kind of, I guess, one of the big partnerships that we promised we were going to announce. We're kind of holding back on that a little bit, but more information will come to light once we're there, have attended, and we've finished that meeting. So some exciting things to come from that meeting itself. But yeah, that's kind of what we're doing at the moment. So I guess there's so many questions. I can't read it while talking at the same. So Roy, if you want to take over for a sec while I just quickly read some of these questions and I can kind of address them.
Yeah, sure thing. Just seeing from the ones from before. Is there anything that I'm missing?
Okay, so I'll talk about what Texas is talking about, which is Aurora. So what people, Aurora is on the roadmap. Aurora is a KYC launchpad, which is going to have basically one-click developer tools in it. So, for example, if you want to create, for example, a smart contract, just a normal kind of buyback token or a burn token, things like that, you'll be able to do that. That's still on the roadmap. The skeleton's already been built. When we're moving forward with that portion of it, that's obviously going to have KYC. So all participants in that that are going to be launching on that, so developers will have to KYC as well as do some locks. But we have some of the UI that we could probably share coming forward, but that will definitely be on the roadmap, and that's still being built currently right now. You don't fix that.
The person asking about the white paper picture of the roadmap and so on. So yeah, so that will be like posted on the website and everything as well once we update that. So we have part of it all is where sorry, excuse me. Part of the whole change to Redlight Network is we need to do a bit of an overhaul of the website as well and post more of that information too. So it's coming. It's just being finalized basically.
Yeah, so my bear asked, the script will be put public. So like I said, I just addressed it before, where we're just making sure that the DApp is going to be showing everybody's TX ID, so all their transfers and stuff like that. We need to make sure that's uploaded. Once that's done, we'll work with Dad and we'll get that basically the script public, so you guys can run it yourselves and then kind of go from there. Make this they can see. Okay, cool. So big partnerships and stuff like that really kind of address rebate numbers collected and kind of staking. Staking is Pinnacle staking. We are going to JD yourself.
Yeah, I server muted Joe for now, but if he needs to talk, just let me know. I'll pull him.
Yeah, so staking in vaults and stuff like that for Red LC.
About so I just
Did the same for sure.
Sorry, what were you going to say, Bailey?
No, that was his background, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, cool. So timeline for new projects being put out onto the chain. Chain's basically dead right now. Okay, cool. So weekly AMAs. Myself and Rory will be running those. So we will be doing it going forward. This is the first AMA to obviously go over the overview, and then we'll have weekly ones where we'll basically go through, like I said, what happened currently, what's going forward, what the team's kind of doing. Dad is obviously posting, I guess, status updates and stuff like that, and what's happening with the team itself. But yeah, the weekly AMAs, you know what? We've promised it, be there in 7 days. That's all I can really say. I can't vouch for it anymore. We're saying we're going to do it. So going forward, the next one we'll see you kind of in 7 days.
We'll do those at differing times as well, so we can address people from different time zones and so on. But as an example, it's just about midnight here in Australia, which I think is a good time for the Northern Hemisphere, but then we'll probably do ones earlier in the day Aussie time, which is not only easier for us to get to, but also means that a different group of people can attend and get their questions addressed as well.
And sorry, what I was going to say before, Leo, was just someone had a question about when ALF would be going live again. So just going to let you go with that one.
Sorry, what's going live? Alchemist Chains, is that what you said?
Yeah, ALC trading.
Yeah, so Alchemist Chains. So obviously with Alchemist Chains, to kind of give you what's happened is the stabilizer for the Oracle kind of database kind of failed. So we had to basically refix that and re-airdrop everybody. We're looking at restarting that probably after this AMA or so in the next couple of hours from going forward. And then, yeah, so that's going to be rebooted. We just had to make sure that everyone was airdropped, all their tokens, people have been claiming, so everything's working and functioning correctly. So somebody's talking about a business loan. So, you talk about a business loan, there's a multitude of reasons why we can't take out a business loan, and that's for pure fact of trying to establish a crypto company with revenue and assets and stuff like that. It's not as easy as going to the bank and just asking, hey, can you give me a business loan? For a variety of reasons. Like I said, if we could, we would. At the end of the day, we are generating what we can to pay off this rebate. We've promised that we're going to pay 6.5 million out. That's what we're going to be paying. Those numbers, like Rory said, are final, and we're doing everything in our capabilities to make sure that happens. But at this stage, a business loan is not a viable solution anyway. So I guess, look, there's plenty of questions that we can kind of go through. I guess what we'll do is we'll be able to address those questions as we bring people up. So we can kind of bring some people up to the stage now, and I guess address any of those kind of questions vocally while we go through the ones in text. So I guess, can anybody actually put their hand up to come to the stage, just out of interest?
Yeah, they can now.
Okay. I can't invite anybody. I think Boss Wilson. Oh, okay, he's already invited.
Yep, there we go. What's up, man? Boss Wilson, how you doing, bro?
Hello?
Hello? Yep, we can hear you. What's up, man?
Hello.
Yeah, hey mate, we can hear you. How are you? Yeah, not too short sitting there. But the next person up.
Yeah. Who has the freaking keyboard clicking sound? Was that Boss Wilson or?
Yeah, guys. So good AM and everything. Now a lot of the things that you guys are talking about have been promised in the past as well. And sure, let's hope that this is a different page of the book, different chapter. I guess that's a metaphor. Now, can you go in depth into any of these partnerships or anything to do with the validator staking and stuff like that? Just so that the community has a better idea on what to expect. And also, like, it's almost been about a year of the blockchain being launched, but we still have just Dawn Swap being used, just Midnight Trades, and Midnight Trades is not finished, so to speak, right? So there's a lot of work to be done there as well. But can you go into depth on anything other than the rebate? Maybe like in the future that we can expect as investors.
There's a few other protocols on chain as well. So, like my metaverse, as an example, is on chain, so you can mint through them. The Edge as well. Like there's
Zombie
yeah,
Nation.
Zombie Nation
Yeah,
coming,
Music
Infinity
Gods as well.
Realms, Hondale coming, Music Gods. Yeah, it's not just these two on there. It's just those are the ones that they're out. So they're probably the main ones that you've people have focused on. And speaking of which, a big part of that was with Scarlet Chains, the amount of, for lack of a better word, I guess, concentration on our behalf that we had to put into that really took away from our building up the blockchain itself and promoting that. And that's why, like, moving forward, the blockchain is the main focus. Yes, we're going to be upgrading Dawn Swap and Midnight Trades and so on, but those are just utilities to be used on the blockchain. And the real, I wouldn't say end goal for us, but the real main aim for us is to get more adopters. So more people hearing about Redlight Chain, of course, and the fact that we're gasless, but also more developers building on chain and building their own protocols. Things that, like, for me anyway, like my dreams is having hundreds and thousands even of different protocols that I've never spoken to about, never realistically heard of them. They're just on chain with their own communities and building. But we ourselves, like, we can't do that. We need other people to take that initiative, I guess you could say, and start building those things on our chain.
But to touch on some of the things that we are developing, so Pandora's Vault, the app and stuff is already done. We're just waiting on a couple of pieces for that, which is our fiat vendor to finish that portion of it. Texas mentioned Aurora, which is coming. Eventide is still planned. That's going to probably be coming probably next year, maybe by the end of this year. Most likely will be next year anyway. The revamped roadmap, what we're going to be making, will address a lot of those things of our developments. Some of the partnerships that we talk about. One of those ones, it was coming up in the chat quite a lot, is that will be announced once we've had meetings and stuff like that. So there's been a lot of different kind of things that have been happening. For example, another one's Crowdbotics. So Crowdbotics actually brought us a couple of these partnerships. One of them is HomeDAO. Another one is Hoa, which is going to be, which is another game that's going to be coming on chain. So the Crowdbotics partnership is quite strong. They're very interested in bringing a lot of protocols to us. But as we've pivoted from the Scarlet Chain and stuff like that, we're looking at building the suite of partners as well as on-chain protocols of our own, as well as attracting new ones. As the partnerships grow and go further and further, more and more will come on chain itself.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Now, what's the plan to onboard those hundreds of thousands of investors or tens of hundreds of protocols?
Well, we obviously have to get more exposure. It doesn't help at the moment that, for example, some of the main, I guess, the main kind of outlets that you can kind of use where we're getting hammered in every facet known to man. So, we've had to obviously do some damage control to not expose our partners to those kind of, I guess, those kind of environment, could kind of say. And you talk about onboarding a lot of these protocols. That's obviously, having to have meetings, and really push how the tech kind of works for them. A lot of the people, like, for example, HomeDAO itself was, they were very, very excited for Redlight Chain as well as Pinnacle Staking, how Pinnacle Staking be kind of used as a service. So we're building things that attract more developers. As we bring things more on chain, a lot of people can see the viability of Redlight Chain. Like you said before, kind of it was a little bit barren. We had to push our own protocols on there to kind of show the viability for it, to show that, it can be used a lot with transactions and very DeFi heavy kind of protocols, to show the flexibility of what Redlight Chain can kind of do. Now, moving forward kind of from that, what we're looking at doing now to attract more investors is looking outside of our community. And that's with some of these big heavy hitting partnerships. They're going to bring further coverage to that. We've basically hired PR agencies to help boost our reputation, get us out there a lot more. Marketing is very much a focus, as well as these partnership announcements, and we've got people in the background doing that. SK, otherwise known as Simon, from the CEO of My Metaverse, is heavily still pushing that side of things. He's not here today. He's got some other things that he needs to address, but he's very much working with the team as well as our partners to really get that out there as well.
But also, as we need to, we will be resourcing up once we've got the protocols or partners to come on board. And we're also lucky that some of our existing partners will give us their resources where required in the specialty areas, because we've spoken to a number of them and they all want to help. So, but you can't do everything overnight. We've got to deal with what we're dealing with now and then move forward. So, the announcements that are bigger than all the other ones we've had will start to roll out.
Okay. So it sounds like you're waiting to release your big partnerships, and I mean, I understand that can that kind of negative exposure can definitely leave a lot of sourness or bitterness in one's mouth, right? So it makes sense. Now I've noticed that going on Google and typing gasless blockchain, for example, or just some keywords that should bring up Redlight, don't, and that's really a marketing thing as well. Do you plan on fixing that in the future?
Yeah, Kyle can kind of speak to this one a little bit.
Yeah, so basically what you're talking about is the SEOs, and that is something that actually I mentioned today in our Dublin meeting, and that is something that we plan to fix immediately. It's top priority, especially as more websites, misleading websites, keep popping up. It's obviously more of a priority than before. Should have been a priority from the start, don't get me wrong, but yeah.
Right. That's something that can be fixed overnight. So that's good. Now, in terms of Pinnacle Staking in the vaults, well, as you know, that we launched Redlight was launched at an ICO price or a price of 90 cents, and now we're sitting well below that, due to obviously the factors at play. So, what guarantee do I have that if I lock up my Redlight or my money for a substantial amount of time, that I'll actually get a return?
So with that, that's part of what I touched on earlier with the fallback function. So with the way Pinnacle Staking is designed is to potentially make you more money than what the rebate would have got you if you just waited for USDTR. But in that example that you're saying, if the price doesn't move up and the funds are essentially just locked there will be a pullback function, which will be in the numbers and everything that we release in the next coming days. So it's easier to get that information out in the white paper first, but it's basically like an early exit route.
All right. Well, thanks for answering my questions, guys, and hopefully the future is better, right?
That's it. All right, thanks for coming up, man.
Yeah.
Top Gun, you're the next in line.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, mate.
mate.
How are you?
How's it going? Not bad. First off, I just want to say I'm glad to see you're all still here and powering on forward. It'd be really easy to get bogged down by the negativity. But yeah, keep yourselves healthy and push on. I was talking to Dad the other day. We were chatting about the Pinnacle staking, and initially I'd misinterpreted it when I was just doing my little calculator, and then we were talking about it, and he sort of explained something to me. As it stands, say for instance, you've got the Pinnacle lockup on tier 5 to $12. As he explained it, then everything's unlocked. Do you not think that that's a publicized, obvious dump point for people? So if people know there's a Pinnacle pool that's unlocking at $12, you start approaching $12, no one's going to buy. So it's going to cause a bit of a sell wall, as opposed to if we had a soft off ramp. Because I'd initially interpreted it as the daily rewards were unlocked at the $12, and then it would be a game of how long do I claim the rewards for before I unstake. So I don't know. I don't know if that was something you'd thought about.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, so that's why there's like a few different avenues you can take. So, for example, if people finish the first phase of it, and then not everyone's going to decide to go into not everyone can go into the Pinnacle pool section of it anyway with the phase 2. Some people are going to pull out early as well with the pullback function. So there's 3 different avenues people can take, different avenues at different tiers of different fees and bonuses and so on. But I get what you're saying, but we have designed it so that if, based on the amount that goes into each pool at each different stage, the drawback from that should be less than the tier below it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
If they will, yeah. So that's how it's kind of designed to protect the growth while still rewarding people.
And so obviously where you limit the amount of people that could enter Pinnacle, how is that, if there's more people trying to get into it having staked in phase 1, what determines who can get in there?
So just be first come, first serve for that. So first people in, but there will be what we call dormant pools. So it's like an extra variable that other people can add to their protocol as well, and we'll be putting it on the rebate portion of it, where there's basically kind of like phantom pools that aren't actually in use from the get-go, but if the demand's high enough, they can be opened up at different levels, depending on what the price is at the time and so on.
Okay. That's me out. Yeah, just keep on going. Cheers, guys.
No worries. Thanks for coming up. So I do see a few questions going on in the chat regarding KMC. So just a bit of background on that. When we closed down Scarlet Chains, overnight they basically pulled the partnership without consulting with us, but based on that, we requested a refund that we could put all of that into the rebate to close that, to help pay off the rebate as soon as possible. So that's what's happened with those. Cool. Killer Cool. Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I was just wondering if we could get any details about midnight trades and the upgrades that are coming and maybe anything about that.
Yeah, so it's basically going through a full overhaul at the moment. So one step of it is getting the ESC 1155 upgrade, so it's can showcase those NFTs and they're tradable on as well, rather than just ESC 721, as well as a full UI overhaul where it's going to have different features added in there. It's going to be a lot cleaner, a lot easier to navigate, a lot easier to showcase the different different projects and stuff on there, and just basically tear it down to its base and bring it back up to where it realistically should have been from the get-go. We just didn't put much focus on it because when we launched, not many people were using it, so that's on us, but it is one of our big priorities to get that up to scratch. As well, and that it will have like advertising sections, so whether that be us showcasing our different partners that are about to do like an upcoming NFT drop as an example, or just advertising for people that may want to pay for advertising on that side of things, so that that can help generate more revenue for the rebate as an example, and once that's paid off, more revenue for us to spend on things like marketing and so on. But yeah, we don't realistically have a timeline for that, but it is pretty high up in the priority to get sorted.
Okay, got you. When I read in like the AMA chat, like earlier, I think I saw people saying it's going to be something around a year. I thought I saw something around. So is it safe to say that this update will be coming after that? So we're looking at like a year or something?
Wait, what was the year? I missed that first part.
Like earlier in the AMA chat, like I saw Texas and Eve talking about it being something like a year. And so if this isn't coming out till after that, is it safe to say that this update is going to be a year or more from now?
Oh, no, that'd be much sooner than that. Sorry, I think they were joking because Leo was reading out one of the questions that have been brought to us from Kyle.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry, Eve. I was genuinely like because I started an NFT chair, so like right now I'm trying to like delist 400 NFTs because I posted them when the price was like double. So like they're not $10 and $15 NFTs anymore. So
yeah,
nice to have dynamic pricing or something.
Yeah.
We'll you guys have a behind the scenes way to like delist a whole collection so I don't have to sit here and do it one at a time for 400? Or is that impossible?
No, we can.
Possibly can be removed from the interface. Yeah. But yeah. So that's fine. Yeah. So they were just taking the piss out of Leo before because he said, "Oh, maybe it's 12 months, maybe it's a year."
Good to go. Okay. Eve, don't threaten me with a good time. I'm just kidding. All right. I don't want to take any more time. There's probably a million people with questions. Thank you all so much. Oh, Shiro, look for a DM from me. I think you guys. I'll talk to you later. Look for my DM, Shiro. Based on what we were talking about earlier. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Cheers. Right. Westervert. No, they're gone. Picasso.
Up.
There he is. How you doing, bro? Hello?
I don't know if you can hear me or not, man.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can hear you. Sorry, it's just really loud when you first came in.
I'll just follow up there with like killer cool. You know, my questions involve midnight trades. But is it going to be possible in the near to mint these and sell them with USDTR, or is it always going to be Redlight?
No, so yeah, we're planning on implementing the USDTR as well. So that was part of the one of the articles we put that out. Yeah, so that's part of the overhaul as well. So give people the two options.
All right, perfect. And I'm assuming that things like being able to delete an item that I've minted, just things like that. I mean, we can't even delete anything right now. So I'm assuming all that's going to be fixed.
Yeah. So that, like right now, so we've got like a fairly, not going to lie, it's a fairly big list of fixes and things to overhaul for midnight trades, and we're just the more things that come to us and that we notice, community tells about, and so on, we're going to add to that and do it. Do it all in the one fell swoop, basically. Get it up to the scratch it should be.
All right, cool. Is there any? I hate to even ask this one. How long is it going to take to get that fixed?
Realistically, can't tell you.
2 months, 3 months.
It's not going to take long. Like literally, we've already got the overhaul and stuff like that. Like I said, we can't promise timelines and stuff, but it's very high on the agenda to get that fixed. So, some of our partners obviously, need certain things to be fixed on it, and it's definitely high priority.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to get that
All right.
fixed.
That's all I
as
got,
possible.
man. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, mate. Have a good one.
Talk to you.
Oh, I cut him off. My bad. All right, got Carlito. You got your hand up. Hey,
Yeah,
how's it going?
you guys hear me?
Yeah, yep. Can you hear us? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you guys. Not too loud though. All right. I wanted to know, basically, it's a lot of us here in the community are not are definitely was we were not at profit at all. I mean, that I don't even think we even got a chance to. I mean, myself only being in the whole protocol between R&D and Scarlet Chains. Like I got into R&D probably in late April, and I think it only lasted until the end of June. And I mostly compounded, and it took very little out of the actual protocol as well. Then waited the 2 months from July to August until Scarlet Chains launched in September, and that lasted about maybe, I guess, 2.5 months, September, October, a little bit into November. And kind of, like myself and the community, we all, um thought that it was best to compound, which we did, and I didn't take a lot of the profit, between R&D and Scarlet Chains in that time frame. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, a lot. I put a lot into this project, and I didn't really get to profit anything out of it, or ROI'd. Even if I would have probably, let's say, for example, would have just claimed every single month, I still probably wouldn't be close to ROI than what I initially put in. So, what I'm asking is for, you know, with what I've heard so far, which is there are no guarantees. Um, the app essentially had a figure that seemed to be on the right path of being correct, but not completely accurate because I think I bought some NFTs on the marketplace and it wasn't really calculating that information correctly. Um, so in one case, I see that I was in profit. I'm not in profit, and I was going to receive some kind of rebate that was close to $10,000, but still not accurate. And then when everything's said and done, I'm not sure again the metrics that were used and everything else. I did hear about AVAX being at $18, or was put in at $18 for whatever reason. But it doesn't take away from the fact that mostly compounded, took out very little, not really in profit. And even if I were to claim every month and not compound and not take out any money, it still wouldn't have made the ROI in the limited time in which I came in. So my question basically states for myself and a lot of people who are probably in that same situation, what is being done for us that holds any value? Because 1 month we're at getting a rebate, the next month is like you know we're getting nothing out of it. So what are we getting in terms of value for what we have invested? And really, most of us probably didn't get to ROI because we were compounding all this time.
Yeah, so we're still going to look at options to be able to help out people that compounded and didn't take profits along the way, and so on as well. The first order of business is to close off the rebate itself first of all, though. So that's the main thing there. Regarding the figures that you mentioned as well, like it's I'm not sure if you're at the start of the AMA, but there's 3 different ways that the original figures changed. The number one was that a lot of the data was just purely incorrect because of the way we were withdrawing all that data from Snow Trace. It was running into rate limit, so a lot of it was incorrect. Obviously, changing it to the $18 as well. So doing it as AVAX in, AVAX out at the time the script was run would have adjusted that. And then also changing, if you did any transfers in, transfers out, that would have changed that too. But yeah, I don't really have any further answer to that. We're just doing what we can to pay back the rebate.
The other options that you guys had on the table, Red LC options, where has that now? I was part of the rebate, and then for 1 month, and then this next month I'm not. So where does that leave those folks that were part of the rebate originally, and now they're not part of the rebate? And again, we're not in profit at all. Realistically, we're not. I mean, like I said, what I invested in, that didn't not even close to whatever I took out in terms of even ROIing or just getting into or having any kind of positiveness. So are we gonna get that option for those that are still not in profit? But again, second cycle, we're not getting anything from the rebate. Rebate aside, is there anything other than the rebate down the pipeline?
Well, if you're not eligible for the rebate, that means that you were in profit based on the way that the data is put together with AVAX being at $18. So it means that based on the amount of AVAX you put in and AVAX that you've taken out, as well as SCAR, that you actually are in a profit. So that means you wouldn't be eligible for any of the rebate options.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that
So
is
the
only
clinicals,
by your calculations, but real money, that's not the case, and you know that.
so you can download. We are fixing up the transactions as well, so you can download it. They are a little bit buggy at the moment, but you can go through and confirm all that based on your wallet as well. And if you think there's anything incorrect, then I'd suggest to raise a ticket so we can deep dive into it and manually review it.
By you manually reviewing it, are you guys looking into the real transactions or the actual just the formula that you guys created for these transactions?
Well, they are real transactions because it's AVAX in and AVAX out. Like that. That's the way that the calculation's done. We can't. There's no way. Like 6.5 million that we're already going to be rebating. That's a lot of money for anyone. There's no way we can account for the fact that AVAX dropped 90% or whatever it was when some people invested into AVAX, and we were paired with AVAX. Like for example, if you were to buy just AVAX as its own, as an example, purchase that and then it dropped in price, like you couldn't ask them for a refund for the money that you've lost because that's the way the fair market of cryptocurrencies work.
Another way of also looking at it would be, the United States dollar, United States, right? And if somehow you to make a transaction while you're in the United States using the British pound, if the British pound dropped, and it like that doesn't affect the United States and the United States dollar, if that makes any sense. Because we were on AVAX, using AVAX on the AVAX chain, so we were using the native currency to the blockchain we were in.
Is there a setting that I can put? I'm pretty sure you guys can hear me really well, but once I got onto speaker, I'm not. I don't. Maybe the cell phone option here is just. I'm hearing you. Not hearing you too well. Because only when
we
I came onto the stage, it just
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I personally have an issue with that myself. I haven't found a way to fix it other than using headphones myself. That's the only way I can do that. But sometimes when you do come on stage, the sound does go a bit quieter.
yeah, I
compared to
noticed. I
when you're
went
in
to
the
my
audience.
headset. I can hear you. I mean, of course, I'm hearing you like a regular phone call.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's to me. I mean, it's really hard to really say that we don't have any options at all, and that's just, to be honest, it's very quite upsetting, and I'm pretty sure for a lot of the community here as well. Very, very upsetting that we invested a lot into a protocol and so many promises along the way, and for the most part, none of it has been able to come to fruition in any part of it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people on this call probably will feel the same frustration. I mean, I understand it's already a total loss, but the fact to not even get anything of value from it is quite upsetting and disappointing.
Like Rory said, once transaction stuff come out, feel free to raise a ticket. We'll go through it with you and see what it is. So the script, we didn't change anything. We literally just put it as AVAX in, AVAX out at $18. If you compound it, obviously we're going to look at that, in the future. And then, if it was that you compounded that value, then we will be looking at doing something to obviously reward you for that portion. But if it's simply because you didn't take anything out, then that can't be possible. You would be due for a rebate. We didn't change the numbers or anything like that. We literally just exported the numbers through the script and then posted it.
All right, so I'll send my wallet information, and then I'll put the ticket in for both wallets, and I'll see what's the resolution on your end.
Yeah.
When you do, DM me, or actually, DM me, and I'll let that goes crypto know about that you talked in the AMA and everything, so that I can explain what I think it's about as well.
No problem. This is Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, Malta Kyle. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No problem, Kyle. No problem.
Awesome, man. Are there more people with their hands raised? I know there's a couple questions that we missed, so we should go through the chat and go through them real quick as well. Just going so fucking quickly. Holy shit. Jesus, I'm still where the fucking Ferrari is being discussed. Which one is confirmed? Probably treasury.
Wait, we're just going to address something now.
All right, there's obviously a lot of questions about Everlast. The Everlast was a good business model. The other partners that we had in that, they were responsible for the operations and to get it off the ground. They sourced the premises to work from, which was a large factory. Feasibility studies were done on how things were going to be produced, what was going to be made, and it was all good. The problem was the factory had some problems with it. So the landlord was asked to make good so we could get a permit to be able to operate from it. Now, that started a long time ago. I think it was about May last year. But we kept getting promised as the outsiders that, it'll all be fixed and we'll start to make the money that we believe we're going to be able to make. And we kept... Yeah, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. was on the projections because the factory was quite huge. I can't remember how many square meters, but so we were doing all the trials and everything was looking promising, the way everything was growing and so forth. The problem was we could have grown hundreds and hundreds of kilos of product, but we couldn't sell it because the factory never was passing the fit for purpose test to operate. So we kept being told, yeah, everything's going to be fixed, the permit through so we can start production. And 1 month went by, 2 months, 3 months, and we couldn't keep waiting and waiting for that to be resolved because there was always some other issue that kept coming up on the factory being fit for purpose. We can say right now there are some discussions about legal proceedings against the landlord, but I'm not into it too much because it's the other partners that are looking at all that based on the fact that they couldn't produce any revenue because we couldn't get a permit to operate from the council. So that's the reason. The whole Scarlet chain was based on getting inflows, and especially from Everlast, which we all thought it was going to come through, but no one could see the catastrophe of issues with this factory that continue to make it unworkable. So we kept waiting and kept putting in funds in the hope that it was going to be passed so we could start production. And we had to make a hard call, right? We couldn't just keep putting money in when we were being told things were going to happen, and every month, another month would go by, nothing. Another month would go by, still couldn't have things resolved. So any business has to make decisions, hard decisions, and we had to make a hard decision, right? Because we couldn't keep funding ourselves to keep Scarlet Chain in the hope that it was going. As of today, still not any revenue has been produced because it's still not fit for purpose. So that's the whole purpose behind Everlast, that the fact that it hasn't produced anything, and we were relying on some numbers, some considerable numbers inflows, and we could only report based on what we were expecting, and we kept being told, yes, it's coming, the numbers will come through. The numbers, we're talking to Coles, we're talking to Woolworths. We were told lots of things. People at the wholesale market were interested to deal with us, or to deal with the other partner. They had seen the practice runs of what was being grown, and and that's what we were seeing. And we thought, wow, this is good, blah blah blah. Now, so that was completely beyond our control, and anyone who owns a business knows how hard it is to make a tough call. And we had to make a tough call pretty quick because we just couldn't keep putting money in. Scarlet Chains while we were waiting, and fear the collapse of the whole blockchain and Redlight Finance. So that's the answer to Everlast.
Okay. So I guess we'll bring up Meowface.
Yeah, we've probably, just a heads up everyone as well, probably got about another 15 minutes until we'll need to finish up this AMA, but we'll probably tomorrow we'll book in the next AMA at a different time so we can follow up on that, and we'll also be sure to get the Pinnacle staking white paper, I guess you could say, for the rebate out over the next couple of days as well. Sorry, Meowface, how are you? You're on mute.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah.
Oh, yeah, good to be here. I just had one question, I guess, around the BIP or BIP NFTs. Is I have a tier 1, and I'm sure many others here have various level BIP NFTs, and then with the way things just have unfolded, and then I guess with the rebate as well being diminished down to not much, that one thing I see with that is these directly related to the blockchain NFTs that we purchased to be early in the blockchain sort of have been completely negated, and like they're just useless in current form. And I'm just wondering if that will change in future, if there's a plan to make those valuable or serve some purpose in future. That's all.
So with them, so they would have been either you would have had to purchase the playmates to stake into the BIP, so that would be money in, or it would have been less money out if you were claiming and putting it into the BIP instead. So that's where that kind of comes into the calculation.
Oh yeah, I understand this. I understand that. I just the NFT itself, like just as it turned out, like the ICO was never really, didn't really see big demand, and then like it essentially doesn't serve a purpose. And then earlier on, I don't know, Alex or different people, like I think maybe just Alex was sort of talking it up like there would be some further benefits to the NFTs, these BIP NFTs, because so far it just has not brought me any benefit. It's just basically like a joke NFT. Might as well just be a JPEG or something, because it didn't serve any purpose to me. I don't know. Others probably feel the same if there's something we're going to do with those in future.
Meowface, are you talking about the VIP, the original R&D VIP, or are you talking about the
Oh,
BIP
not the
that
VIP. This is the BIP. I'm not sure how
BIP?
you say it because I've only
Okay.
seen it printed, but
Okay,
the
I'm just making
blockchain
sure.
incentive program.
They can answer, but I don't really feel like it had any other benefit than ICO, in my opinion. That's the way I looked at it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Alex said something different about that at the time, but that was simply just to be able to go into the ICO.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for the clarity. At least I know now. So.
Yeah, no dramas at all. All right, we've got time for a couple more. We got Bevan. How are you?
Bevan, what's up, bro? You're muted. Wait, is he serving it? No, he's not.
He's
Bevan?
muted himself.
Yeah, he's muted himself.
Yo,
Yep,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
There you are.
Right,
Haven't
let
heard
me
your
just
voice in a while, mate.
try and fix these voice settings. I
You're
can't
right.
ask anyway. Just going to ask a couple of questions for other people. So passive aggressive, I think he's called now. Are we ever going to see Team's operational wallets?
What's operational?
Talking about the Teams wallet.
Yeah,
Let me ask. Yeah, that's fine. Let me ask this question though, in regards to it. So I obviously know passive aggressive is one of the main people who is obviously funding us and stuff like that. We're happy to open it up eventually, but for my view, the purpose is, we answered obviously Everlast questions, stuff like that. I come down to seeing why there's been all these wallets that people have said that we own, we do this, we do that. But realistically, what are they looking for? A lot of people are thinking that we took all the money and stuff like this, which we prevalently haven't. And at the end of the day, tell him to come into the VC, and I'll happily address it with him.
Yeah, I have, but for some reason he won't. So I get them asked for now, and if he's got a problem, then he can. Well, it's his fucking problem, really, isn't it?
If he can't ask the question himself, then I'm not going to answer it. Let's put it that simple.
Look, can I say, if I prove how much I've tipped in, is the community going to give my money back?
No.
Yeah, it's a good point, Joe. It's a very good point.
Right? So at the end of it, we can sit here, hand on hearts, and know that we did not pull anything out.
Yeah.
And we have stressed, lost nights, and I know people say, oh, but you're working hard, but you're not being productive. At the end of the day, right, we are working so hard to try to make good on Scala, but also we need to consider what we've got is our biggest asset, the blockchain, and to get the most out of the blockchain. If we can move forward and deal with the blockchain, then anyone that's invested in Red LC will enjoy the benefit on the way back up. All these issues about money, like my other business has had to suffer from cash flow issues because I kept putting money into Scarlet while I was waiting for Everlast to come good, which it never did. So, you know, again, everyone who's in business will understand what I'm talking about, and a decision had to be made. Otherwise, what? Would everyone be happy if I went broke? Right? Because, you know, we were doing this. So, you know, as I say, if people don't want to come and talk about it, you know, like, again, yeah, I'd like to be paid everything I put in, which is a lot more than a lot of other people, but I'm not saying that because I'm here for the long haul. I want to build this up, and I'll get my money out when we're up high. All right. So again, as Leo said, if this guy wants to talk, get him to come and do a VC.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So a question: are we ever going to get to see monthly profit and loss reports?
Well, the profit. Yeah, sorry, you go, Carl.
So what I was going to say, after we answer Bevin, Passive Income or whatever his name is, Passive Aggressive is his name is, he did put his hands up, so we will address him after Bevin's questions are done.
Oh, there you go. If he's put his hands up, then I'll just let him ask them questions. One last question from me. Well, it's from off to the gym, but he's really busy, so he's had to run. In December, we were given the choice between lowering our ROI or claiming V2. His question: had we chosen to claim V2, that would have been a substantial amount to pay out to the community. If that money was available, where did it go? If it wasn't, why wasn't the actual financial situation made public to us then about Scarlet?
So V2 itself was meant to. So basically, what happened with V2 was it was meant to. There was a tipping point that basically we couldn't go over. So V2 was meant to be more sustainable in the fact that, you know, it basically had reverse taxes, and a substantial amount needed to be put into the protocol from our side. As well as, you know, investors putting in money as well, and then once it got to a certain point, it was supposed to be able to sustain itself. We couldn't get to that point because it costed way too much. And for example, you know, Everlast didn't produce what we needed to produce. A lot of these forecasts, what had for Scarlet Chains, basically didn't eventuate, and Joe obviously, you know, addressed those before. So at the end of the day, we were promised certain amounts of things that were supposed to happen with Everlast, and, you know, we promised time in, time out again. And this is from a person who, you know, who was very, I guess, profitable in business and stuff like that. So, you know, we did believe him, and then there was a certain point where we had to pull the plug. We just couldn't keep tipping in our own money into Scarlet Chains, and basically reduce our runway to where we wouldn't be able to sustain anything at all.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I haven't got any personal questions. I annoy you and fucking ask you on a personal level enough. So, yeah, I'll let somebody else go.
Yeah, not a problem, mate. Thanks for that, Ben.
Cheers, guys.
Yep. See you, everyone. See you, bro. There you go. Passive Aggressive, you're muted, or let me check if you're no, you're not muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I can hear you. Right?
I think I got it. All right. Well, thanks for letting me ask the questions, I guess.
No,
you got them there. If you want to start, we can just start with the first one.
Sorry, what was the first one?
Are we ever going to see the team's operational wallets? You guys have been preaching about transparency for months and months and months and months. If a project like, say, Thor can give us an operational wallet, we see all their expenses, we see what their team's making, we see what they're spending on marketing, we see what's going in and out. Why do we not have that here?
Yeah, so we can produce that.
Well, I know you can produce it. I'm asking, why do we not have it? And when are we going to have it, if you are going to produce it?
Well, what I'm saying to you is we are going to produce it to you so you can have a look. We don't have anything to hide, so that's fine.
So, again, when are you going to? Like, I hear you saying you can and you are, but is this something that's going to be soon, next year, this year, in a month, 2 weeks? Is there a ballpark figure that we can see We hear so much about the millions of dollars you guys put in. We have no way to verify that. We hear so much about what was paid out. We have no way to verify that. We hear about you guys not taking money, taking pay cuts, whatever the case may be. We have no way to verify that. That is all the transparency that you guys have been preaching for months. That would kill all the FUD. You know, you guys throw FUD around all the time. Simple things would kill the FUD. Like when Joe just said that about Everlast, we have never heard how horribly financially broke that was from the beginning, but we were still being told, come on guys, we're doing great. You know, we got all these inflows, we got IRL inflows. The mods have beat that into our heads. We got all these businesses pumping millions of dollars into this project. Don't worry, keep buying, buy more. Matter of fact, buy more to test platinums. 2 days later, you shut the whole program down. Transparency is what you guys are preaching. Just do it.
Yeah, fair point. We will produce those. We will produce that. Like what Joe said, we were promised on the basis from Everlast. That was not in our control. We were looked at obviously forecasts and stuff that we were told that was going to be produced. You know, and they didn't eventuate in the end. So we had to pull the plug on certain things.
Okay.
I also have to say something though, because give me a second. As you know, passive aggressive, you can say anything, but you can't. If there's nothing that you can say that I haven't been fair with you and really all the futhers and everything that I or anyone has banned, I've brought you back. You got banned again, and not just for asking questions, bro. You don't just ask questions. Because if I just ask questions, I would answer them like I do with every single individual in rebate talk and also during chat. However, I do have to say something. I am all for releasing the operation of wallets. I think that is fair, and I think that's transparent. And definitely, if we promise that we're going to be heading on a transparent road, that is something that essentially will have to happen, and something that, to be honest, internally has been pushed as well. However, realistically speaking, you and all and your group essentially. I'm not going to mention names, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, I don't have a group. I don't understand why I'm grouped into anybody. I'm me, myself, and I. What, my kids?
Right, okay.
There's no group.
I give you time to talk. You'll have time to talk afterwards.
Okay.
But you know exactly who I'm talking about, and the community. Some of the people in the community, the majority of them know who I'm talking about as well. For example, you know, the individual that leaked the validated chat, for example, to you, and I have screenshots of it, not just to you, but to your group in general. But let's move on from that. For now, you can go back to it later, and I'll answer you, no problem. However, the most important fact that people need to remember also, is that realistically speaking, Redlight Network, in my opinion, has been run kind of like a service to people, where the freaking profit of Redlight went into Scarlet Chains, and that personally pisses me off. I've already talked to the team about this, etc. But that was a mistake that was made, and realistically, Redlight Finance, Redlight Network took the hit for it. Now, the issue that I see with the whole thing is that people make it look like with Redlight Network is a fucking donation when it isn't. Come on, man, this is a business. And realistically speaking, there is absolutely nothing legally or otherwise that that makes us have, or not us, because I'm not even a part owner in Redlight, but there is nothing realistically that pushes us to actually release the operational wallets. Because let's face it, we will release. I will personally be pushing for them to be released, because I would like, frankly, to see them as well. But the thing is that what's going to happen once we release them? You know that one of my wallets was found, for example, and they linked it to, I don't even know what the hell I was impressed. Not only that, but a community members, and I was in a meeting with this guy, and he's listening right now. You're probably laughing his ass off right now. Was actually linked to he's a whale, a big one of the biggest whales in Redlight, and that was linked as a team wallet. And if we release the operational wallets, what are you gonna do then? You're gonna take, for example, the liquidity for the exchanges. You can be like, oh, so where did this go? And what's that gonna cost? That's gonna cost us to have to freaking explain every single transaction in every single operational wallet. And what is that gonna do? It's just gonna take more and more and more time for us to address shit that, frankly, we don't necessarily need to address, and focus less on business development, marketing, information, communication. And then what's going to happen after that? You're going to come back and you're going to FUD and blame us for not putting the right effort to grow the blockchain. That's precisely what's going to happen, because it's happened before.
Okay.
Now, any subject you can touch on, we can touch on. I'm happy. Even if the team has to go, I don't. We can stay here for hours if you want.
Okay. So, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin with. There's no group. There's no team. There's no whatever. There's a whole bunch of people that are pissed off. That's about it. I'm one of the thousands. What am I going to do with it? The same thing I do with Thor's. I'm going to see that the team got paid X amount of dollars per month. So we know that the team is getting X amount per month. We know that they're paying marketing X amount per month. We know that X, Y, and Z add up to that, what you're saying. I don't know what that whole tangent was, but if Thor can do it, why can't a real L1 blockchain, why can't they be as transparent as something like Thor? Let's just keep going back to that, beat that into their head.
Okay,
Why
so let me beat something
supposed
into
to
your
be
head
the
then.
best, right?
Do you know
Gasless
everything that
blockchain.
Binance spends? Do you know everything that Binance spends? You know everything that Ethereum spent? Do you go to Vitalik Buterin and ask for his wallet and the operational wallet that pays all the employees and how much the salaries are being paid? Do you do that?
If I was invested from the very start, I probably
It's a
would.
blockchain.
Yes.
That's a blockchain.
But
Why?
I mean,
No, you mentioned the blockchain, well, or Tor. But so I'm mentioning another blockchain. My point is, this is a business, man. Where's the privacy? I mean, fucking hell. We doxed, and I didn't have to specifically dox. Leo and Joe, they doxed, and they didn't have to either, because this is freaking DeFi at the end of the day. And look what happened. They're freaking the ASIC public. Well, I mean, they're public documents, so anyone can buy them. I could go buy them right now if I want to. But what happened? Their addresses are out, and there's these little websites and all this bullshit. And then you want us to give more, but what motivation?
No, I don't want you to give more. I just want you to give what you guys have been saying for months. You said for months we were going to get P&L reports. You've said this for months and months and months.
I
said all
have
the
never said that
transparency.
P&L reports. I don't agree with P&L reports even being released. Why do you have the legal right, or even any right?
Because we were being told that you guys are bringing in millions, and literally shut us down like that the very next day. I mean, literally up until the day before you shut down, we were being told how you guys were above water when you weren't. You were below water, you were sinking, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the lie is what's wrong. You should have been like Joe got on there today and said that. Why didn't he say that 4 months ago, 6 months ago, while these guys were dicking you guys around? Why were we being told, oh, Everlast ain't the only thing putting millions into this project? We got all kinds of businesses. We got all kinds of stuff. NASA. We got Alex in there making things up.
All right, let's slow things down a bit.
Wait a second.
Everyone's just talking over each other at the moment. This is going nowhere. It's going around in circles. You both got decent points. Like I agree. Yes, we're a blockchain, and it's a bit of a different level to just a standalone DeFi protocol. There's a lot of different moving parts of a lot of one thing Kyle touched on. A lot of the money that gets sent to exchange constantly to help with the liquidity for the market makers and so on. It's just part of running a blockchain, different to a single token. I know some people brought in the past that other people have said about profit and loss reports and so on, which I know I've never spoken about. I don't think Leo and Joe would have as well, so I'm not really sure where that's came from. As that, I don't think we'd ever be sharing profit and loss reports. That's not something that's what we'd be doing. So I'm not sure where that came from, where that rumor started, and so on. And yeah, look, we've admitted there's a lot of things.
Mods. I mean, I just screenshotted on stage, so there's Killer Whale saying that you guys are going to share it. That when your mods speak as a mod. So if your mods are speaking and saying we, the team, are going to share these profit and loss reports when harvesting comes out, blah blah blah. The mods shouldn't put that out there if it wasn't told from you guys. Is he just making this up? Like, that's
a fair point. That's a fair point. But obviously, because Everlast, like we said, it didn't make any profits. Didn't make any. Well, I guess there was losses. Look, we can draw the losses. For example, that we invested in. We invested in Comb, for example, before they pivoted, moving away from nodes. Nitro, all the things we can put in a profit and loss.
And balance sheet.
And it's basically a balance sheet of sorts. But at the moment, the
not going to be very balanced.
The P&L statement realistically is, well, it's non-existent now because Everlast hasn't produced what it was supposed to produce. Look, it's a fair point.
yeah, it's a fair point that you make. Maybe we should have come out earlier with it, but we were promised, even till now, we're still promised on it. And now we're taking, obviously, litigation action to recoup at least some of our investment into that, because clearly it's not going to go off the ground, because they're in legal battles now with
the landlord
itself. So, like I said, we didn't delay that information on the fact that we weren't being transparent. We were told that it was going to start in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. We asked for, all the contacts, all the contracts, everything like that.
Well, I don't want to waste any more of your guys' time. I appreciate you letting me talk. I do appreciate Kyle. He's always has been there to argue with me, to bring me back in, whatever. It's just transparency, like everyone else says. Transparency would be nice. One last question I had was the bridge. Like, is the bridge ever going to be operational? I mean, how are we going to ever attract huge money, big money into this chain, and they can't bridge out $24 in 3 days? I mean, other than that, I'm my point. We're just going to go in circles. Everyone's going to agree to disagree.
No, that's a fair point. Obviously, with the Dawn thing, we put announcements out for that. So, Dad's obviously come out and said, he's basically relayed information, from us, from myself, and the dev house that was in its hypercare mode for the pure fact that that it wasn't really an exploit. What happened was, with Dawn itself, somebody found basically the master pool, which is not shown on anything. It was done via the contract, and they staked into it, and they obviously got paid insane amounts of Dawn. So that pool itself actually pays out the Dawn to all the pools, and it manages it. So you can think of it as like the Master Chef kind of contract. We obviously diluted that, so that's no longer an issue anymore. But what happened was, we added now a function on the bridge to reclaw funds for exactly if exploiters or anything like that happens. Now, we've made it now that if you queue, we're going to make sure that we basically clear the bridge every 24 hours. In this whole cycle, there was obviously issues with making sure that upgraded for security purposes and stuff, but bridging out 2 or 3 days, no, that's not going to happen. Once we overcome this hurdle to make sure that everything's totally safe, we're going to open up the bridge, because it is a very, very valid concern. You have a really good point in that regards, Passive. With that, how do we attract people? We need to make sure that their money's not perceived as being trapped in Redlight and stuff like that. There's alternatives to bridge out, but you want to have every avenue there to be used, which is a fair point. So right now we're letting everything queue, and within 24 hours it's going to be cleared. That we're going to release that shortly, and once that release happens, then we'll be putting an announcement out, and then going forward we shouldn't have any issues going from there.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate your guys' time.
Likewise, and look, you raised some good points as well, and that's kind of what we're doing here, is coming forward, admitting that we've made mistakes as well, and we're doing whatever we can to turn that around and start being better at communication, start being more transparent. As you're not wrong. We have gone on about that side of things for a long time, and it's time to start, being a lot more what we're talking about, so transparent, communicating better, and so forward. And that's why we're going to be doing these AMAs weekly as well. I know, like, sometimes it can be said that it's being FUD, but it's to us, it's really just a hard question. I know I've heard of other things that you've said that have, could be related to FUD, but that's a story for another day. But look, thanks for coming up, man, and thanks for asking the hard questions. And yeah, hopefully you got the answers you're looking for.
All right, thank you, guys.
All
right, thanks, man. Well, we basically just over the time we had for now, so we're going to need to finish this AMA up. But look, again, I just want to thank everyone for coming and still supporting us, still asking us the hard questions, so we can keep growing as a team and keep growing as a company and a blockchain realistically, because that's the end game, is just getting as much adoption as we can, as much eyes on us. And just want to reiterate, like, we can only help put out our narrative, but it's the community that controls the narrative out in the public. So yeah, we need to all be focusing on what we can do to kind of turn the ship around and get things moving forward, which will help us, speed up things like not only the rebate, but also speed up our further developments. Speed up things for us to actually start growing and get things like Pandora's Vault out, get Aurora out and launch, start onboarding some more games and everything like that. That's obviously we're steering the ship, but it's still a team effort, and just need to make sure everyone's aware of that. Now, does anyone have anything else they want to say before we finish this up? On the team, I mean.
Yeah, so going forward, obviously, people that didn't get an answer, we're going to do weekly AMAs. So myself, Rory, probably Joe will attend, and Carl will definitely be there. So anything that's not been asked in one of the AMAs, we'll be able to address it afterwards. So in the next one. So people saying that we promised the AMAs tomorrow. Once we find a right time, we'll book it straight in, so we can that it's there in the calendar, and we know we can be held accountable to have these AMAs. And that's not just to obviously voice concerns. That's obviously to go on developments that we're doing, partnerships that we're gaining, and then going forward with anything that's progressing with roadmaps and so forth. Now, a lot of people are asking for alpha and stuff like that. Probably dropped a little bit before with one of the major partnerships that's going to be happening, and we're going to be seeing them in person. Going from that portion forward. Now, it's going to be once we finish having that meeting and stuff like that, we'll be able to, I guess, drop some more, yes, not alpha per se, but be able to see what eventuates from that, because we don't know exactly how fully fledged that meeting is going to go, because there's a couple of things that we're going to be covering off in that meeting, which is realistically going to be exciting developments for Redlight itself, and that portion. So some of the questions that have been coming through the chat right now, we've answered some of them, but like I said, we're going to be addressing all of these every AMA every week. So hopefully that by the end of maybe 3 or 4 of them, everyone's like, okay, cool. So now we can kind of see what's happening, what's been addressed, and we kind of keep progressing forward. I understand, we promised a lot of things, deadlines have been missed, and we're really trying to turn that around. There's been, unforeseen circumstances for things, and that's ranging from, our dev house not informing us of a deadline and something coming up, or exploit coming up, or Everlast, for example. And we're making a full concentrated effort to really change things. I know there's a lot of people that are upset, and we can understand that, but we need to make sure that going forward we try and be more engaged with the community while progressing and pushing developments forward to raise the price, to raise more partnerships, to give more awareness and exposure, and to get adoption. So at the end of the day, people that are holding Red LC, are going to get a return on that investment, and hopefully upwards and more.
So in terms of delivering on deadline dates, if they're development dates to release something, what we will do moving forward is, if we are given a deadline date by the dev house or whoever we're dealing with, we will put it out there. The moment there is any potential extension of that date, will come to the community. We'll let everyone know to understand. And yes, then people say, oh, they're not delivering again, but we will let you know in advance as soon as we know, okay? Or as soon as we feel that we're going to not be able to deliver. So, we hope to improve the communication out there to everyone. And also in terms of, the partnerships, people are asking, I hope it's just not that Redlight partnering and just going to use someone's services. I'll put it out there now. That's not part of the, what we're looking at with this partnership, and that'll all come out after we have our meeting. Okay.
Alrighty, well, that's about all for today. So yeah, thanks again everyone for coming, and we'll get the next AMA date posted out tomorrow, and get those Pinnacle staking for the rebate information, everything out to you in the next couple of days, and yeah, move forward from there.
Thanks for coming, guys. We'll see you in 7 days.
Thank you for coming, guys. and for the questions and everything else. I'll be around on Discord, so if you guys have further questions, I'm gonna go eat something now. But afterwards, if you guys have further questions or something you feel like we're touched on that I can answer realistically, feel free to ask or DM me or something. And yeah, see you guys.